everyone, welcome back to Xylem, welcome back to the world of English. You might be wondering who this gentleman is, right? I got you. Since it is my first session, since I'm a new face, it is my obligation to introduce myself. My name is Nasser Faruddin, your English teacher, your English faculty. I will be helping you cover the entire syllabus for your upcoming English examination. So what are we going to do in this small video? We're going to discuss two important chapters in our core textbook Flamingo, which are the last lesson and the lost spring. So before we are delving into the chapter, before we are discussing the chapter in detail, I insist you to read the original text, read the textbook thoroughly, line by line, at least once. If you haven't gone through the chapter line by line at least once, please do that before your examination, because that is the kind of quality, that is the kind of expertise people are expecting from you in our examination. So if you have already done that, this is going to be an extremely fruitful session for you. So before wasting time, let's delve deep into the chapter. This is the first chapter, the last lesson. Ironically, the first lesson is the last lesson. The title of the chapter is the last lesson. Do you know who wrote this story? Do you know the author of the chapter, the last lesson? He's a French author. Yes. About the author background, about the author. Alphonse Daudet was a French writer famous for stories depicting human emotions and social issues. So background of the story is France. Actually, this story has a larger historical background, which we'll discuss, very soon. So he wrote mostly about human emotions and social issues. The last lesson is set in Alsace-Lorraine. It's the name of the place, Alsace-Lorraine, highlighting impact of foreign occupation on local language and culture. Let me make it clear for you. This particular place is in France. Okay? But if you want me to give more clarity, I would say this is in German-occupied France. This place is in German-occupied France. Understood? Yes. And the story highlights the impact of foreign occupation, foreign invasion from Germany on the local language and culture, on the local language and their culture, on their language. Okay, right, moving on. What is the setting of the story? Time. Late 19th century, during the Franco-Prussian War or Franco-France-Germany War, which happened between 1870 and 71, late 19th century. Where does the story take place? The place, the location, the setting of the story. A small village school in Alsace under German occupation. So it happens in a German-occupied French territory, French area, and to be precise, a small village school. What is the atmosphere of the story? Somber. What do you mean by somber? Very serious, reflective, thought-provoking, with an air of sadness and regret. So there is sadness in people, there is regret in people. Germans have ordered French schools to teach only German. So this is the premise of the story. Germans have ordered French schools to teach only German. Right? So that is how a country controls another country. That is, a country invades another country, not just physically, but culturally as well. Let's delve deeper. So who are the characters in the story? The first one, maybe the protagonist. Maybe the protagonist, or you can also say Mr. Hamel is also the protagonist of the story. So we have Franz. Who is Mr. Franz? A careless schoolboy, initially lazy, but later realizes the importance of learning and patriotism. So Franz, in the beginning of the story, we can, he's portrayed as a lazy schoolboy who doesn't want to go to school. He, who likes to skip the school, but he later realized that. He later understood the importance, the value, the significance of culture, the significance of education, the significance of patriotism. Then we have Mr. Hamel. or M. Hamel. He's a kind, strict, and patriotic French teacher. He's kind, he's strict, and he's patriotic. Patriotic, the love for the country. French teacher giving his final French lesson. So he had been teaching French for the last 40 years. No, it's a long period of time, 40 years, and he's delivering his final French lesson in the chapter. And we have villagers represent common people who regret neglecting their own language. When they had time, they neglected their language. Now that somebody is taking away their culture, somebody is taking away their language, somebody is taking away their identity, and now they are regretting because they couldn't study their language, learn their culture properly when they had time. And we have some minor characters as well. Old Hussar, the blacksmith, Prussian soldiers, the German soldiers, illustrate the social context of the story. Yes, moving on, people. So I am presenting you a very detailed synopsis, not just a very small, tiny summary, but a very detailed synopsis under proper subtitles. Okay, moving on. The first subtitle: France, laziness and fear. France, laziness and fear. France wakes up late. That's how the story begins. It's a very the story begins in a very normal, ordinary, mundane setting, but it later transformed into very philosophical discussion about culture, patriotism, language, and occupation of another country, things like that. France wakes up late, fearing scolding for not learning participles. Participles. It's a grammar item. Okay, so France wake up late, fearing scolding for not learning. Participles, scolding from Mr. Hamel. He is tempted to stay outdoors. He doesn't want to go to school. He wants to skip the school, enjoying nature and watching Prussian soldiers drill, practicing the military things. Despite the temptation, even though he had that temptation, that feeling of skipping the school, he finally decided to hurry to school, motivated by fear as well as duty. Understood the premise? Understood the beginning? Moving on. Unusual atmosphere in village as well as in the school. France notices a crowd at the town hall. On his way to school, he stopped at this town hall because he noticed an unusual gathering around the town hall, a crowd at the town hall, which usually post bad news about the war and draft. Okay, so that notice board at the town hall usually, usually post bad news, negative news, and about war, because a war is going on, the Franco-Prussian war is going on, and draft means, if official declaration from the, the chief of the army to join people in the army, right? On reaching school, he observes unusual silence. Usually the school is not silent, but now he observes unusual, strange silence. Normally, lessons are loud and chaotic. Normally, when he enters the school, there is chaos, there is sounds, there is hurry-burry everywhere. Now what he sees villagers in the classroom holding old primers. Primers means books, reading books, okay? Hold old primers, books, and looking solemn, looking sad, looking depressed. This surprised him, as they rarely attend school. This surprised the young boy, the little boy, because those people rarely attended school. Those people never come to school. Then why are they here now? It is surprising. Announcement of the last lesson. And now this is the title of the chapter, the last lesson. Mr. Hamel or M. Hamel is dressed in his finest Sunday clothes. Hamel is dressed in his finest Sunday clothes. Okay, clothes he wore in very special occasions, signaling the importance of the day. He considers it as a very, serious day. He considers it as a very noble day of teaching his last French lesson to the people of that locality. He announces, this is taken exactly from the textbook: my children, everybody gathered here, this is the last lesson I shall give you. This is the last French lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin. Berlin is the capital of Germany, to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. These are places in France. So the Berlin government, the German authority has ordered to teach only German in the French schools. You know how unlucky it is, how unfortunate it is. It's cultural dominance. Okay, so whenever a country is invading another country, they not only impose physical dominance but also cultural dominance. So whenever they are imposing a language, they are destroying the culture. Right? Moving on. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. This is, ladies and gentlemen, is your last French lesson. So I'm going to deliver my last French lesson. I have been doing this for the past 40 years. Long 40 years. A long decorated 40 years. And this, unfortunately, is my last lesson. France is shocked, realizing he may never learn French again. France is shocked. Until that point, he was not serious. He was a lazy student. He was a lazy child who always want to skip the classes. But now he became serious. Now he understood that. Now he realized that there is no more chance for him to learn his mother tongue, the France, his identity. He feels sorry for all the times he skipped studying and now realizes the value of his books and teacher. He feels sorry. He feels sad for all the times he skipped studying. He skipped studying his language. Don't you think? Language is a very core thing. Language is a very core topic. It is so close to your heart, especially your mother tongue. Let it be Tamil, let it be Malayalam. It's so close to us, right? Studying and now realizes the value of his books and teacher. Moving on. Hemel's farewell lesson. So this is a very important episode in the chapter. Hemel's farewell lesson. What does he teach? Teaches with extra care. On that particular day, Hemel, the teacher, the French teacher, teaches with extra care. Patience and pride. He was very patient while teaching the lesson. He was so proud. He was so proud about what he was doing. As if giving all his knowledge in one final lesson. Right? So he was teaching as if this is the last day, this is the last lesson, so I need to teach everything possible in this limited amount of time. He tells the students that French is the most beautiful and logical language. French is the most beautiful, maybe magical, logical language. He emphasized that, he gave importance to that language. This is an important point, don't you think so? Language is linked to identity. Your language is your identity, your culture. My language is my identity, my culture. Language is linked to identity and freedom. Even if the country is occupied, means even if the country is captured by the enemy countries, even if the country is captured, holding on to one's language, sticking to one's language is like keeping the key to freedom. If you still stick to your language, you have the freedom. Even if a particular country, a foreign invasion happened, the country occupied your country, it doesn't matter unless and until you have your language with you, because it's a key to freedom. According to Hemel, he reminds students that knowing their language is part of being a Frenchman. Now you're being invaded by, a colonial power. Now you're being invaded by a country, by Germany. But he reminds the students that knowing their language is part of being a Frenchman. If you truly, really want to be a Frenchman, you should know your language thoroughly. Okay? Through his teaching, he instills pride in their mother tongue and makes them realize the value of their cultural heritage. French language means French culture, their heritage. So he made the people realize the importance of that. He made the people understand the importance of that. Writing and history lessons. Look at here. Final lessons. Writing and history. Students write phrases like France, Alsace, France, Alsace. Okay, the people wrote it in the paper. This symbolizes patriotism. What does this symbolize? It symbolizes patriotism, love for the country, love for the, the country, and love for the motherland, Hemel reflects on 40 years of teaching. He had been doing this for the past 40 years, and he reflected, he thought about that. His garden, he has this small garden in the school which he, take care of. Classroom and pupils means students, demonstrating his personal sacrifice and dedication. Right. So we have an emotional climax for the story. Church bells and Prussian trumpets. The Prussian trumpets means the trumpets from the part of the German military troop. Church bells and Prussian trumpets mark the passage of time and the reality of occupation. Okay, for a short period of time, they were discussing about their cultural heritage. They were discussing about their language, the importance of the language, the beauty of the language, the charisma of the language. But now they realized they are being occupied by a foreign country. Reality of occupation. Hamel, overcome with emotion, writes on the blackboard. He writes because he doesn't want people to hear, maybe the German soldiers to hear. Viva la France, viva la France, victory to France, victory to France. He dismisses the class quietly, very silently. He dismisses the class, he disperses the class, leaving a lasting impression of patriotism, cultural pride, and respect for education. So this is how the story ends, the last lesson. So people, what are the themes? What are the important themes of the story? Let's discuss, right? The first one, everything is important. Patriotism and nationalism. Patriotism and nationalism. Love for one's country is expressed through language. Love for one's country is expressed through the love for the language, culture, and education. Hamel embodies true patriotism. Hamel is a living example of true patriotism, teaching until the very last moment. He's imparting the lessons of cultural heritage. He's imparting the lessons of patriotism. He's imparting the lessons of nationalism till the very last moment. Second one, importance of language. We have been discussing this throughout the chapter. Importance of language. Language is the key to cultural identity and freedom. Language is equal to cultural identity and freedom. Losing language means losing heritage and identity. Losing language means you're losing your identity, you're losing your heritage, you're losing your freedom, everything. Moving on. Then, regret and realization. Regret and realization. France and villagers regret delaying learning. They didn't learn their mother tongue when they had time. So now they regret that. And undervaluing education. No, not giving, the deserving importance to, education. Illustrates that knowledge and cultural awareness should not be postponed. It illustrates, it portrays, it shows that, it gives us warning that knowledge and cultural awareness should not be postponed. Okay, you shouldn't be late. Then the last theme, the last point, dedication of teachers. Teachers like Hamel impart knowledge, values, and moral lessons, shaping characters and patriotism. So this is all about the chapter, the last lesson. Hold on, we will learn one more chapter in the same video, which is Lost Spring. This is my favorite chapter among the two. Lost Spring. Lost Spring. Let's see. Who is the author? Anis Jung. She's a lady, okay? Anis Jung. She's an Indian journalist and author. Lost Spring is a short story, but it has, it is actually a narrative from the contemporary India. It's a representation of contemporary India, and we'll understand what is this Lost Spring while we are going through the chapter. So it has written by Anis Jung, an Indian journalist and author, and she focuses on social issues, children's rights, and exploitation. So these are the major themes in this story as well. Social issues, children's rights, and exploitation. Lost Spring, people, I want you to underline, Lost Spring highlights the lost childhood and dreams of children forced into labor. So what does the title refers? Lost childhood. Lost Spring means lost childhood and dreams of children forced into labor. Understood? Right. The story depicts child labor, poverty, and social injustice. These are the three major themes: child labor, poverty, and social injustice. Right. Now, what is the setting of the story? Actually, we have two stories combined here. Okay, the story of two children. Right. So, setting. Saheb's story. We have a child named Saheb and we have another child named Mukesh. So, where does Saheb's story take place? Garbage dumps in Delhi, urban slums. So, it happens in a urban slum of Delhi. What do you mean by urban slum? A slum at the outskirts of an urban city, right? So, garbage dumps in Delhi. And we have Mukesh story. It happens in bangle making workshops in Firozabad, Uttar Pradesh, semi-urban area. So, bangle making workshops in Firozabad. One is in Delhi, another one is in Uttar Pradesh, Firozabad. Time period. What is the time period referred in the story? Contemporary India reflecting ongoing social issues. Right? So, the story happens in contemporary India now, maybe yesterday, maybe day before yesterday. Highlights the urban and semi-urban India, showing poor children struggle, So, I'm going to discuss the chapter in detail, thoroughly, and I'll give you a character analysis as well for your examination. So, which are the two important characters? Who are the two important characters? The first one is Saheb-e-Alam. That name, Saheb-e-Alam, is ironic because the meaning of Saheb-e-Alam is the emperor of the world. Saheb means emperor, Alam means world. So Saheb-e-Alam means emperor of the world. So is Saheb really the emperor of the world? Let's see. No, he's not. Saheb-e-Alam is a young rag picker. He's a rag picker. Okay, he picks rag for a living. Originally from Dhaka, Bangladesh. He's from Dhaka, Bangladesh, the capital of Bangladesh. Then how he came to India? Lost his home due to floods and storms, migrated with family to Delhi. That is how he reached India, Delhi. Lives in Simapuri. He lives in a place called Simapuri, and Simapuri is a slum. Okay, Simapuri is a slum settlement of squatters and rag pickers. People like this, people who pick rags, people who do menial jobs. Okay, so it was a slum settlement. You might be you might have learned about Dharavi, the largest slum settlement in India. So like Simapuri is also a slum settlement in Delhi. Okay, right. Children like Saheb roam the streets barefoot, searching for coins in garbage. Well, that's how they do. That's their usual life. That's their reality. Dreams of going to school, but opportunities are scarce. Saheb-e-Alam wanted to attend school, wanted to study, wanted a better living standard, but he couldn't because of his socio-cultural milieu. Dreams of going to school, but opportunities are scarce, very limited. Very, very limited, I would say. Finds hope and excitement in small things. Okay, people like him finds hope and excitement and enthusiasm in very small, tiny things like a rupee coin, a pair of shoes, or a swing. Eventually starts working at a tea stall. Eventually he starts working at a tea stall, losing his careful childhood. So this is a glimpse of who Saheb-e-Alam is. I will explain the story in detail later. Don't worry about that. I have got it covered. Right, then we have Mukesh. Who is Mukesh? Mukesh, born in Firozabad, famous for bangle making. Not Mukesh. Firozabad is famous for bangle making. Lives in a family of bangle makers. You know what is bangle, right? Bangle makers, where generations are trapped in the same occupation, where generations are trapped in the same job. No. Okay, listen to me very carefully. Bangle making, as you think, is not a colorful occupation. It is not a very colorful, safe job. Rather, it's a very difficult, dangerous job. It's a menial job. Okay, it's a substandard job according to the social, hierarchy. Works in unsafe, high temperature glass furnaces. That is where they work, including the little children. Health and eyesights are at risk when they are working in the high temperature glass furnaces. It is harmful for their eyesight. It is harmful for their health. Dreams of being a motor mechanic. He wanted to become he wishes to become a motor mechanic, breaking free from inherited poverty. Now we usually say inherited wealth, but this is inherited poverty. Poverty that has been passed from generation to generation. Inherited poverty. So he wanted to, break the shackles of those, that inherited poverty, and he wanted to become, a motorcycle mechanic. Family and societal traditions impose limits on ambition. Even though he wanted to become a motor mechanic, his family imposed those, social, cultures in him. Right? Like, actually they are stopping his dreams. Stopping him from his dreams. Struggles with middlemen. He struggles with middlemen. There is middlemen between the bangle makers, his family members, bangle makers, and the shop and the sellers. Right? There is a middleman. And policemen and social apathy which perpetuate poverty. Right. So now let's delve deep into the chapter, the story part. I have just introduced to you the characters, in order to give you a better understanding while I am discussing the chapter. And we have a few more characters, which are families of Sahib and Mukesh, represent cycles of poverty and tradition. And we have the author or the narrator, Anis Jung, observes and documents children's lives with empathy and social awareness. So he's documenting the story of Sahib and Mukesh. So this is, I can say it is a story. We cannot say it's a story. It's a document. It's a written document about two children who suffers or who is going through poverty, right? Who lost their childhood dreams because of poverty. So it's a documented writing. And she's writing it with empathy and social awareness. She's very socially aware of the circumstances, situations, and the kind of reason that resulted in this situation, the situations, right? So it's a document. It's a documented writing with empathy and social awareness. Now the chapter synopsis, a very detailed one actually. Sahib's story. Life of a rag picker. Sahib-e-Alam is a rag picker. Sahib collects coins and valuable from garbage daily. This is what he do. He collects coins and other valuable items from garbage. Search garbage and collect things like this. Lost his home in Dhaka due to floods. Family migrated to Delhi. I have already discussed this. Lives in Simapuri. He lives in Simapuri. So it's a suburban place or near to Delhi. A slum with 10,000 rag pickers lacking basic facilities like sewage, drainage, or clean water. So they are living in extreme poverty. They lack basic necessities like, they do not have facilities like sewage, drainage, or clean water. They're human beings, but they do not have all these basic facilities. Children walk around barefoot, scavenging garbage, searching garbage for coins and other valuables, seeing hope in coins and discarded items. Education is absent. Education is not an option there. Education is not an option in those slums. Even if I want to study, just because I am born and brought up here, I do not have the access for education. How cruel is that? How unfortunate is that? Education is absent. School is a distant dream. School is just a dream. School is a distant dream that is never going to happen. When the authority jokingly offers to build a school, actually it is not the authority. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. When the author Anis Jung jokingly offers to build a school, okay, Sahib eagerly asks when it will be ready. And Anis Jung was joking. She was indirectly giving him a false hope. She's going to build a school, and he was eagerly waiting for the school to open, join the school, study, better his life, showing innocence and desire to learn. So it shows his innocence, it shows his, that longing, that desire to learn. And Everyday survival dominates life. Everyday survival for them, they're not living for future, they're not hoping for a better future. For them, every day it's a survival, right? But children find small joys. For elder people, every day is a survival. But for small children, the bliss of knowing everything, right? We say the bliss of not knowing everything. But children find small joys, swings, second-hand shoes, or playgrounds. Eventually, Sahib begins working at a tea stall carrying a steel canister, a symbol of end of carefree childhood. So when he was, rack picking, it was a carefree childhood. Now he's not his master any longer. He has a master now. He's supposed to obey his master, whoever it is. Life for Sahib is struggle between hope and harsh reality, showing how poverty robs children of education and play. How poverty takes away the dreams, the education of children. Right? Yes. And now let's discuss Mukesh's story, life in Firozabad bangle industry. See, Mukesh belongs to a family of glass bangle makers. Glass bangle makers, where children inherit occupation, where children, this tradition or this job, this occupation is passed from generation to generation. For example, if my father is a bangle maker, I'm supposed to carry forward that occupation. I'm supposed to do the same job he has been doing, my family has been doing for a number of generations. Works in glass furnaces which are hot, dangerous and unhygienic. Mukesh is forced to work in glass furnaces which are hot, dangerous and unhygienic. Risk of losing eyesight or suffering health issues due to prolonged work in hazardous condition. So it is not at all a very healthy situation. It is not at all a very safe place to work. Lives in cramped, dark homes with poverty and lack of opportunities. Despite hardship, Mukesh dreams of being a motor mechanic. Mukesh wanted to become a motor mechanic, showing hope and ambition. Even though he has been trapped in a place of poverty and lack of opportunities, it shows his hope and ambition. It shows his optimism. Family structure is multi-generational. The family structure is multi-generational. What does that mean? The job, this menial job is transferred from generation to generation with strict adherence to caste-based occupation. They belong to a particular caste of glassmakers. So if you belong to that caste, you are supposed to do only that. You do not have any right to do a better job. You do not have any right to pursue for a better, prospect, because you belong to that community, you belong to that caste, and you're forced to, you are destined to do that. Young men are trapped by middlemen. This is again another social problem they are facing. They are trapped by middlemen. Middleman is a middle person, who collects bangles from the poor people and sell it to the industry or sell it to the wholesalers or whoever it is. So there is this middleman. What does middleman do? They take a handsome amount of commission, right? And which again catalyze the poverty of the people. Young men are trapped by middlemen, social norms and law enforcement. Attempts to improve life may attract legal problem. Even if they try to improve their lifestyle, it will eventually attract legal problems, because people of high class, people in the upper class of the society will never let them improve their lifestyle, because they somehow wanted to keep them in the in the pothole, in the gutter. The narrative highlights the vicious cycle of poverty. It's a cycle. It's a never-ending loop. Don't you think so? Children follow in the footsteps of the parents, constrained by caste and socio-economic conditions. So they were restricted, constrained, limited by socio-economic conditions. Yes. So what are the themes of the story? I hope you have understood the chapter thoroughly, and please let me know your feedbacks in the comment box if you liked the class. Right. So what are the themes of the story or the document, the writing, the documentation? The first one is obviously child labor. Children denied education. Children denied education, forced to work for survival. Very simple. Poverty and survival. Families prioritize food and shelter over identity or education, because for family members every day is a matter of survival. So they gave importance to food and shelter. They prioritize shelter and undermining the value of identity and education. It affects the young children a lot. Exploitation. Middlemen, social norms, and government neglect trap children. Okay, the trapped children. Loss of childhood, lost dreams, the lost spring, the title of the chapter. Rag pickers and bangle workers lose innocence and play. And hope and dreams. Even in adversity, difficult situation, even in extreme difficult situation, children like Mukesh cling to ambition. They hold tightly to ambitions. Caste and tradition. Occupation is inherited. Poverty is inherited. Poverty is a vicious loop. Social mobility is limited. Social mobility, the movement from a lower strata of society to a higher strata of society. That is what is meant by social mobility. So the social mobility is limited. If you belong to a lower strata of the society, the chances are you will stay there for a long time. Okay, unless an Ambedkar or a person of that importance appear. Then social responsibility. Society must recognize and act against exploitation of children. Society, that includes you and me, must act against exploitation of children. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, the chapter, the lost spring. I hope you understood. I hope the session was helpful, and please let me know your feedbacks in the comment box. Since it is my first session, I am expecting your comments in the comment box, right? Which rarely happens, I know, but please, okay, find some time to write your feedbacks in the comment box, and check the description box for chapter test. Okay, based on the chapter we have learned today, I have prepared a chapter test, and the link for the chapter test is provided in the comment box. You can check there. And thank you everybody for watching. Again, my name is Nasir Faruddin, Faculty of English. I'll see you in the next class. Until we see next time, thank you everybody. Happy learning. Bye.